0, 1, 2, 3. Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good. You've got to get a hold of yourself.
Ain't nobody stopping me.
Hi guys, how you doing? This is Zedhead here. Where are we? We're in the lockup. You see all the parts behind me hanging up. I've not done a Zx9r vlog for a little while. Kind of a lot going on just now, and I just haven't had the time to get to it. In hindsight, I probably should have done the Zx9r rebuild in the background and then uploaded everything bit by bit as basically it happened. Really, that's probably what I should have done. I'm going to sit you over here. So basically, what stage are we at? So you'll hear the generator in the background. It's like my lockup's a wee bit away from my house, so let's have a wee look at this. See if we can swipe to unlock what we're doing here. Right, I'm going to stop now. So just check that everything's still working before we start. Yeah, so where I am just now. So my lockup's away from my house, so you'll probably hear the generator in the background. To the neighbours' annoyance, but it is what it is. I've basically put sort of wee sound, just like cardboard up to try and sort of block the noise going towards the houses. Hopefully it keeps it within my area, but at the end of the day it's between the regulated guidelines hours wise that I can make noise, so, and I don't rip the whole out. If I don't need the generator, it gets switched off, so that's that. So where I am with the Zx9r, I built the whole front end of the bike, and basically I put the key in, fresh battery, and I can't get it to fire up. What I think it is, the only thing that's changed is the fact that I've got a new key, so a new key mechanism for it, and it had one wire that was out with the wiring loom, and what I think that may be is the 12 volts in. So that's a problem for another day. What we're going to be doing today is the rear swing arm, and I'll explain that later. I'm going to give you a little, I don't think I've actually given you a detailed look at the bike. As it stands just now. So I'll just come back here. K&N filter. Take you down a wee bit. I'll show you the frame. It's all dusty. The paintwork came out immaculate. Got like Pro Bolt subframe bolts, rear hanger, Pro Bolt rear hanger bolts as well. So it's had quite a lot of work done on it. Take you around and show you the front end. Zedhead motovlogs, got you there. A wee bit dark here, but give you an idea. Got the front exhaust on, the front mudguard on. And I've actually, the weep lines for the induction, which is the ram induction there. So obviously when you're riding in the rain, I'm in Scotland, so that's going to happen. So basically at the low points in the induction, there's basically drain points. So this is the drain lines. So as you can see, yeah, I'm sad that they're colour coded to the bike. So you can see there, all the bodywork hanging up, ready to go on. This is a new addition. It's actually a pyramid rear hugger. It's going to look absolutely sick on the rear swing arm. Now what happened was, put that down just now, I was working on the bike and a builder was actually walking by and he kept on looking at the bike and whatever, and then he came over to me and he said that he used to own a Zx9r and he had stuff that he was throwing out because they were moving into the house across the way. So here. There's the side bags for the Triumph over there. We've got like that's the gear linkage, a wee bit of paint on it, just it's been there to dry. The shelving and whatever. And that's the new rear swing arm, all painted. I've got a bit of clothing on it just now, just to sort of protect it because I don't want it damaged. So this is the original swing arm off the bike. Take you in a bit and let you see it. It's absolutely hanging. So you'll see the old rear spindle adjusters, tensioners basically. That's the swing arm bobbin. And then obviously you can see all the sort of damage that's on it as well. So there was no way that I was going to put this back on the bike. But one of the things that I wanted to show you was, and I'll show you in here, if you can see it, if we can get a good, so in there are the needle bearings, and that's the needle bearings for the swing arm linkage. So there's two needle bearings in that side and then there's one in the other side. And then along with that there's a bearing race as well. So before I bought the bike, those were brand new. And the ones that are in the swing arm that I've done up are absolutely gone. They've had no lubrication throughout their life. See, Kawasaki in their wisdom never put any sort of grease nipple on the swing arm at all. Even my Zx9r 600 had a grease nipple that you could pump grease in and it pushed grease towards the bearings. So technically these swing arm bearings sit with whatever grease you initially put on them, and subsequently if you strip the swing arm off and do routine maintenance and whatever, that everyone does, don't we guys and girls? Yep, that's exactly it. So what happens is, as they dry out, they start rusting up because moisture gets in, and then what happens is you end up with rusted needle bearings like that wee guy there. That's what that is. That's one of the needles out the old. That's one of the needles out the old swing arm. Totally rusted, totally gone. And what it also does is the internal shaft. Because if you think about it, in the whole life of your swing arm, that's its movement range. So if you can imagine a needle bearing rolling back and forward on its races, so what happens is through time, if you don't do any maintenance, it wears a channel and it wears a groove to the point where it will at some point seize, and it seizes in place and you can't do anything with it. So this is the reason why I got this little kit here. And what this does, if I'm able to open it up, because it is quite heavy, because it's quite a substantial kit. So what this is an internal bearing puller kit. I'll just take like the likes of this one out. So you'll see there how it's got a step on it. So what happens is you put that in past the bearing, and then you expand it, which creates a lip right there, and then you're able to extract the bearing out without, hopefully, he says, damaging it. Now there's two methods you can use to extract it. You can either use the slide hammer, and I would only use the slide hammer if the bearing was getting replaced and getting destroyed, because I think the thinness of the walls of a needle bearing, I think using a slide hammer would be just a wee bit too much for it. So what I'm going to use is the extractor, which will basically take anchor at 2 points on the swing arm, and then you'll use the threaded part in the middle, along with one of the extractors screwed in there. That will draw the bearing out. So yeah, that's the main difference. That will draw a bearing out, and that will shock a bearing out. So obviously, just the words themselves, drawing and shocking, you can tell which one causes the more damage in the bearing. So for this purpose of doing this swing arm, I will be using the puller to draw the bearing out, to minimise any damage that may occur, which I don't anticipate there being any, but I've said that in the past. So what you have to remember is this swing arm is absolutely, for me, toast. So I'm gripping it in a vice. Don't hate me, but swing arm's no good to me. The only good thing about it now is trying to salvage these brand new bearings that are inside there. Hello. So this is the tool. So basically what happens is that, as you can see, goes inside the bearing, and then using the flat there and that there, I will splay, because you'll see there, if I sort of spin it like that, you'll be able to see that there's 3 sections, and the middle part's got a pin which opens up the jaws basically, and it should hook the underside of the bearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you up here, and then we'll get to work doing that. So I'm going to look for a 17 to start off with, and it's typical that it's a 16, so 16mm there, and we'll look at, no, thought that was a 10mm. It's a 10mm there. When it is. So I'll hold that like that, and then you can see there, see it? Start turning it and it splays open. So if I put it in like so, put it where it needs to be. I'm going to splay it a wee bit more. It has hooked up, I've got a wee bit of a gap. I'm going to do just I would rather go a wee bit more and work back than Right, so I'm going to go just a tiny wee bit more. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the puller in relation to the bearing. As you can see, I can still turn. There's no way I can get the puller as it is. I can't get it up the way, which that's ideal for me. So basically what happens now is I get my puller. So self-explanatory, so I'm just screwing this down till it meets with the swing arm. So there's a couple of thick parts of the swing arm, front and back. So that's where I'm looking at having the puller. Just tightening up a wee bit so I can position them like that. So hopefully you can see where the bearing is sitting just now. Everything's tight and ready to extract. So I'll pop you back. In fact, we'll see what we can get from there. Take that down, give you a better look at it. Get this up here. So, have a little look. Bring you in a little closer. There we go. So as you can see, the two fingers, that's not going anywhere. So it allows me to use this top nut. And what I'm doing now is I'm drawing down on this nut. And as I turn that nut clockwise, this screw is coming up the way. So it's causing a drawing motion. So I just felt the bearing go there. So I'm watching just now, and what I'm seeing is the bearing is drawn out of its position. And what I can feel now is I can feel the extractor starting to slacken off because the bearing is actually almost out. Very little effort. No, there you go. You saw it there in real time. So there you have. Look at that needle bearing. It's absolutely perfect. There's no damage. You can see what I mean by the extractor. The extractor basically sits on the bottom end of the needle bearing and it allows you to be able to extract it. Then it's tapered as well, so it goes, it centralises, it's sort of self-centralising. And that's it. One bearing removed from a swing arm. As easy as that. So we're all set up for the double now. No point in me showing you a long laborious task of setting up. So what I have done is I've sprayed a little WD-40 on the thread there, which basically self-explanatory why I've done that. Just want to make sure that everything's lined up. I'm going to start the extraction process. I'm not liking that right from the start, so I'm going to back off. So that to me needs to be a little more positive on that. It feels as if it's rocking within the... I'm backing that off again. This is a double bearing, and because of such you would multiply the frictions involved, because you've got two bearings within the swing arm that are interference fit that you're trying to technically extract at the same time. So all the extraction's happening on the bottom one, and the outer one is basically just going to react to however the lower one forces are in. So that's disappointing to say the least. So you'll see here, I've went away from softly approach to it either comes out or I wreck it approach. So I don't know. This is a circuit in C. See, this is the thing about these types of situations. There's many solutions to the same problem. Some people will have found the solution easier. Some it might have came out for somebody the other way, but I have little to no hope of this actually working. But we will not give up. We will try again. Failing that, I'm ordering a needle bearing set. It is what it is. Right. So what I have here is, this is a collar that I made up, and basically what you do there is got a pinch bolt on it, and you can grip the fork leg with it. So what I used it for was on the Zx9r, that basically the top end of the fork had a cap with a circlip on it. So you basically had to push that down to compress the spring to remove the clip to release it. So what I did was I bought one of these collars, machined it out to 41mm. So I was able to put that onto the chrome part of your fork leg, clamp it, and then put like a 3-jaw bearing puller on it so that I could push the cap down to release it. So it's going to come in handy because I can place that over there, and I have a spare because I do. And then what I can do is I'll screw that down because it needs to engage in that. I definitely think that pulling is going to be far easier than slamming it. I'll be able to control it better. And what it will allow me to do as well is bring the legs in closer when I'm tightening it back down. So I think I've got a good standing now. This is getting exciting because my glasses are steaming up. So nothing seems to be happening at the moment, but it's not to say that it's not happening, which might seem like a strange thing to say, but there's quite possibly a gap between the two bearings. And we have movement. Did you see it free up there? Oh God, there's a health and safety officer when you need one. And this is the thing about doing things yourself. Did you hear my mood? Did you hear my mood change? That small, what might seem like an insignificant little win, as so you might think, why is he going to do what he's going to do now? So I'm going to readjust my setup, and the reason being is the collars that I put on will at some point interfere with the bearing. So we just readjust and reset, and that's just it. So we've got the bearing extractor back off, and as you can see there, the first needle bearing is now at the top, so I need to readjust everything to allow me to extract this first initial bearing off. Now this bearing should be okay. Any damage that I should or might see will be on the bottom race, but I'm 100% confident that there's not going to be any damage. He says, tune in next week. I wouldn't do that to you. You're watching the magic happen. You're watching it happen. You're watching it coming out. So there you can see the first bearing starting to extract. What I'm going to try and do is bring the two of them out at the same time. The second one is coming out. And it's getting easier. The first one's totally clear. And there we have it. So if you look at the bearing there, absolutely zero damage whatsoever on the bearing. Now, I'm going to tell you where I got this kit. I got it from Temu, and everyone might think, ooh, no. How much would it have cost for me to put that bearing into a garage, or that swing arm into a garage to get done? Even an arm and a leg, I know it would have been. So now, when I'm sitting round the campfire with the boys and I say, oh, I remember the day I struggled with the swing arm bearing in my 1994 Zx9r. Highly recommend this kit, highly recommend it. So one of the other things that you saw was I went to the slide panel. But what you'll have noticed was, as I quickly went back, and the reason I changed back was I just knew in my heart of hearts it wasn't the right way to go. So I quickly changed away, and there you go. So that's how much it's splayed out. So like I get the 16mm and the 10mm, and I back it off, and you'll see the See it starting to spring back in. So basically what that is, it has a tapered pin on it. So the tapered pin goes through the middle and it pushes on the inside of the puller and causes the fingers to open up. As I say, that's the full set of needle bearings extracted. Extracted from the old swing arm, but they're new bearings, and I'll show you. They're brand new, absolutely immaculate. So they'll go onto the other swing arm that I've got, which is painted. So how will I get the bearings into the new swing arm? What I'll do is I'll draw them in. I'll get a piece of screwed rod, which will be wider than my swing arm, a couple of nuts. I will then get a washer that is the exact diameter, and I'll maybe build it up with 2, maybe 3 washers or to the exact diameter, and then what I'll do is tighten the nuts on the screwed rod, and it'll draw them into place. You could go down the road of putting them in the freezer and heating the swing arm up. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to push them in, press them in, basically. So there you go, guys. A little Temu special. And you saw what work it did for me just there. Totally made up. Thanks very much for spending a little time with me in my garage. Sometimes you can be lonely around here when you're on your own. It was good having the camera and being able to talk, because when I've been talking to you guys, I've actually been thinking about how to do it. So I've been bouncing my idea off the camera as opposed to bouncing it off someone that's in here with you. So that's been cool. Let's see if we can get like a wee close up of the paintwork. She's going to look good when she's finished, she really is. So I'm going to look at extracting the bearings from the new swing arm, or the new to me swing arm now. But I'm not going to drag you along for that. It's the same process as you've just seen. Don't forget to click like, comment and subscribe. This is Zedhead saying take care, stay safe, peace out, bye bye.